All right, welcome back to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining us today because we are diving headfirst into one of the most incredibly packed, fascinating little pieces of source text we've ever looked at. It is literally just one sentence long. But man, within those few words is an absolute masterclass in psychology, habit building, and the sheer power of framing. If you've ever felt like fixing your routine takes massive effort, expensive software, or some total life overhaul, you are going to absolutely love how we break this down.
So let's just jump right in. I want you to imagine something for a second. What costs $10 and changes a life? Seriously, think about that. We are constantly bombarded with these high-end self-improvement systems, pricey wearables, and $1,000 retreats, right? All promising to totally revolutionize our daily existence. But what if the key to a massive life overhaul costs less than grabbing a quick lunch? That colossal, kind of unbelievable claim is exactly what our source material hinges on today.
The $10 tool that will change your life. I'll just pause for a second to let the psychological weight of that promise really sink in. It's bold, right? It is completely uncompromising. It doesn't say it might improve your morning or it could potentially make you a bit more productive. It guarantees a fundamental life change, and it deliberately anchors that massive transformation to a tiny, almost negligible price tag. This phrase is just expertly engineered to grab your attention and totally refuse to let go. Okay, let's really dive into this, because to understand why this sentence works so incredibly well, we need to do an anatomical deconstruction of the text itself.
Which brings us to part one, the $10 investment, analyzing the price.
Now, what is really fascinating here is the sheer contrast. $10. It's an incredibly small, totally mundane number. It's literally the spare change at the bottom of your bag, right? The cost of a couple of coffees or some minor impulse buy at the grocery store. Yet in our source text, this tiny, everyday number is placed right next to the concept of total, monumental life transformation. The contrast creates this immediate cognitive dissonance. Your brain instinctively goes, wait a minute, changing my life is supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be complicated and expensive. How on earth can it be $10? And that specific tension is exactly what forces you to want to learn more.
So here's the crucial point. Why state the exact price at all? Why didn't the source just say, the cheap tool that will change your life? Well, by establishing an ultra-low, highly specific financial barrier, this hack instantly becomes accessible to almost anyone. It totally wipes out the friction of hesitation. Think about it. If a productivity tool costs, say, $500, your mental defenses shoot right up. You start calculating risk versus return. But $10, the financial risk is practically zero. That specific, super low number bypasses our usual defense mechanisms and just warmly invites us into the premise, totally fear-free. We've got the tiny investment and we've got the massive promise hanging in the air. Now we need the vehicle that connects them.
And that brings us to section 2, the reveal, unveiling the mystery tool.
All right, here is the deadpan punchline delivered in the second half of our source text. The grand, mysterious, absolutely life-changing tool at the center of this massive claim is an alarm clock. Yep, just an everyday, completely ordinary alarm clock. When you read the source text, there's this brilliant moment where your expectations are just completely subverted. You're all geared up to discover some secret Silicon Valley software or some newly uncovered productivity framework. But instead, you are handed the most universally dreaded, simple object sitting on millions of nightstands worldwide. But honestly, that unexpected simplicity is exactly why this concept works so beautifully.
And this perfectly illustrates the absolute power of framing. If someone just tells you, hey, go buy a standard alarm clock, you're probably going to feel pretty uninspired. It feels like a chore, right? Kind of like a step backward into the analog age. But when that exact same, identical physical object is marketed and framed as a revolutionary system, as the $10 alarm clock hack, it totally ceases to be just a clock. It transforms into a specialized catalyst for success. The source material isn't changing the physical object itself. It's completely rewiring your perception of what that object can actually do for your focus, your screen time, and your mornings.
Let's explore that a bit more in part 3, the hack mindset, reframing the ordinary.
See, the source material doesn't just present the object and walk away. It actively frames buying and using this item as a hack. And in this context, a hack isn't about computer code or cybersecurity. We can define it like this: repurposing a mundane tool to achieve a massive, life-altering advantage. When you frame the purchase of a $10 clock as a hack, it profoundly empowers the user. You aren't just waking up earlier, you are actively outsmarting your smartphone addiction. You're cheating the system. You are taking back control of your precious morning hours, using a clever, incredibly cheap loophole that the rest of the distracted world has somehow just completely missed. It elevates a boring, basic action into a highly intentional intervention in your daily routine.
So let's pull all this together and synthesize the anatomy of this entire phrase. The text relies on a perfectly balanced trifecta. Number 1, a minimal investment of exactly $10, which strips away all financial risk and hesitation. Number 2, a surprisingly mundane object, the alarm clock, making the solution totally grounded, accessible, and relatable. And number 3, a maximum promise, the promise that doing this will literally change your life. These 3 simple elements combine to create a deeply powerful, honestly irresistible hook. It promises maximum lifestyle leverage for minimum physical and financial input. And let's be real, that is the ultimate human desire when it comes to self-improvement.
Which leaves us with this final, really vital thought to chew on. The true magic of our source text isn't actually about the physical clock at all. It's entirely about the mindset of leveraging the ordinary to create the extraordinary. So I want to leave you with a challenge. Look at your own daily friction points. What small, $10 changes could completely redefine your own routine? What seemingly mundane objects around you right now are just waiting to be reframed into your very own life-changing hack? I hope this explainer gave you a powerful new lens to look at the simple tools hidden in plain sight. Thanks so much for joining me today, and hey, keep questioning the ordinary.